Hi, it's Giselle Monbiot again, looking at the different tips and techniques to help improve your well-being on a daily basis. This week we're going to be just talking about working from home. With so many people now having to work from home as opposed to being in the office, I thought it would be really useful to sort of give you 10 tips on sort of how to keep motivated and how to deal with the difference. For some people, it's been an absolute godsend. Some people really love having to work from home. They enjoy the flexibility. Whilst other people, it can be a little bit more challenging. And I think as time goes on, it gets a bit tricky with that sort of self-motivation, in the sense that when you're surrounded by people, it can be easier to remain focused and remain creative. Always having so some people might sort of be feeling very sort of isolated from their teams. So it's good to think of different ways to cope with working from home. So the first tip, the first step really, is to ensure that you've got an area in which you can work in. Have the place set up. So it'd be great if you had a specific room you could work in. But for lots of people, they are splodged in bedrooms, on dining room tables. So what's really helpful is if, say, for example, you're working in your bedroom, have a little box. So it's everything you need for your day is in that box. So at the end of the day, it's very easy just to clear it up, stick it in the box, put it to one side. But then in the morning, when you have to start work again, it's just very easy to set yourself up again. So instead of wasting time trying to find all the things you need to keep everything together, and just so it means that you can just set yourself up and just make sure that if you can just have that regular space that you use on a daily basis. It just means you're sort of associating that place with work, and your brain is just sort of connects into that mindset as and when it needs to. Plan your day. Obviously, a lot of people can't plan every single second of the day, but what's really good is if you're able to work out maybe the times in which you're going to be working, but also within that plan, work out your break times, work out when you're going to have lunch. If you do have a tendency to want to put a load of washing on in the day, I know that I do, work out when that's going to be, when is a good time to have that little break. So just making sure that you're either not just working all the way through, or just enabling yourself to ensure that you've got that time to focus. It can be very easy to get distracted by things within the home, or people that you are sharing your home with. So just try and get a plan, maybe becoming aware of the ebbs and flows through the day with your energy. So planning the time, maybe there's a good time for you to be checking your emails, maybe there's a good time to be making your phone calls, just starting to work out how your day should look, setting a lunchtime, making sure you keep to it. Don't sort of go into that, making sure that the breaks are so important. And if there's no one around to ensure that you're doing that, or for you to be encouraged by other people's breaks, I think also people can feel guilty working from home, that they are taking time away from their computer, or that they're having some time out. Just becoming aware of what it is that you need, becoming aware of what your body needs to ensure that you are able to remain energized and focused. Another thing that's quite important is now all these meetings, any interaction we're having with work is online. A lot of people are saying how this is getting a bit zoomed out. Quite often, if you look at people's calendars, they have an hour meeting, then they go into another meeting, and then they go into another meeting. There's just no break. So what would be really good is if you could have a break between meetings. So you either plan it so you have your hour meeting, and then you have 15 minutes, and then another meeting. So block it out, arrange your meetings. If that's not possible, then can I suggest you do 15-minute meetings rather than an hour? So at least you get that 10 minutes. So you can start at a meeting at 10, and then you finish at 10:50, and then your next meeting could be at 11. It just means you've got enough time either just to write quick notes, on that meeting, or just get up, move your body. Sitting down for a long period of time is just not good for us. So maybe get up and do a few jumps or move your shoulders about or something like that. So just be conscious about how all this is affecting you and making sure you're doing the best for your body. Connecting with others. Loneliness has a huge impact on our mental health, on our physical health. When we feel lonely, it's almost worse for our bodies than taking no exercise or eating badly or smoking 20 cigarettes a day. As we are such social creatures. So make sure you have time to have a bit of a chat and a bit of a laugh with your colleagues. You would have done at work. There are times when you sort of just meet up and not necessarily talk about work and just maybe talk about your day, or just talk about the football or what you saw on the telly last night, or make sure you have that time for chit chat. Once again, I think people feel guilty for doing that, but actually connecting in with your team, becoming part of a community, ensuring that you've got those relationships going, so good for your well-being. But also to have those relationships and making sure that you're connecting in that way, it gives you all an awareness of how other people are as well. It's very easy to put on a brave face or a happy face for 50 minutes on a Zoom meeting, and a lot of people who are struggling, they can be really good at putting that defence up of that pretense, and then as soon as the Zoom meeting finishes, it's like back down again. And that's the thing when you're face to face with people, when you're with people, it's those moments when they're not feeling that they're being watched, or those feelings when those times when they're just relaxed, that you can really start to see how someone is. And this is a time where we need to be looking out for each other. We need to be checking that our colleagues are happy. And the way that we do that is by being friendly, by chatting, by building that rapport, keeping those relationships going. So it's really fundamental. That's not anything to feel guilty about. And I personally think that every manager should be encouraging that too, to ensure that their teams are happy and looking out for each other. Really important. Exercise. Get some exercise in every day, whether it's a walk, whether it's a run, whether it's a bike ride, whether it's doing some online yoga. Get some exercise in, really move your body, get those endorphins rushing through your system. I mean, for me, exercise outside is the perfect solution. So for me, one thing I've really come to realise recently is just getting on my bike, just going for a 20-minute cycle ride, nowhere in particular, just makes me feel happier. It gives me more energy. I can get more focused straight afterwards. My body feels really good for it. My mind feels really good for it. So find the exercise that really works for you. Try and if you can, for as much as you can, do it outside. Exercise is such a good way of raising mood, getting ourselves more focused, increasing concentration. Also, it's an opportunity, maybe you could join a group or something like that. So then you get the connection in as well. So that's really, really important. And another tip is get into nature. So this is often what I do. I marry the two together, exercise and nature together. Nature stimulates all aspects of the brain. And what can happen is when we are just doing the same thing regularly, our brain doesn't get quite so stimulated. And this is when we start lacking motivation, when we can start feeling bored, when our emotional energy goes down, when our physical energy goes down. But the amazing thing about nature, because there's so much going on and it's forever changing, what happens is our brain, every aspect of your brain gets stimulated, it gets lighted up. And because of this, it means that you yourself feel stimulated. Every aspect of your body, every aspect of your emotional state gets stimulated too. Also, when you're in nature as well, you look far away as well on the travel. When you're staring at a screen, your eyes are only focusing in a certain distance, which is really bad for the muscles around your eyes, which can also, in the long term, weaken your eyesight. So getting out in nature, looking far away, really using those eye muscles as well, which is really good just for your eyesight. So nature has so many different ways, and breathing it in, noticing it, really focusing. Get off your phone, just really breathe in nature. Amazing stuff. Work out what works for you. I mean, it's all well and good when you say, got to do this and got to do that, but it's about working out what works for you. Some people, they need to organise their day. They have to start at 9, finish at 5, have very set breaks. That's their working day. And that's also, we're saying all about planning your day. But other people like working in a really agile way. And it really does depend about what's going on in your household, what's going on in your life, the things that you're having to fit in daily. So some people might find that they work best really early in the morning. Some people work better late at night. So working out how your working system works best for you, and speak to your manager about it. Enable them to know what your working pattern is like, and get in agreement with it. It's a good opportunity for you to really get to understand what works well for you. Speak up. If you're having any problems, any difficulties, make sure you speak up. Make sure you tell somebody. If you don't speak up, if you don't tell anybody about what's going on for you, then nobody's going to be able to help. And people do get afraid to speak up about challenges or problems or issues, whether it's just your workstation isn't good enough, maybe you're struggling with the isolation, maybe you are feeling guilty that you need to have breaks. Whatever it is, whatever might be festering or causing you discomfort in any way, tell somebody, speak about it. And then what you can do is really start coming up with a plan to help you, getting the support that you need, ensuring that what you need is in place. You have to look after yourself, you have to be kind to yourself. And quite often one of the first things that we can do is tell someone, let someone know. And actually people do care, people do want to know, and people do want to ensure that you are doing okay. So ensure that you let someone know, and speaking through an issue really helps, and making sure you're getting the support that you need. The ninth tip is also just always coming back into your emotions, going back into your feelings. A lot of us are sleepwalking through life. We're completely oblivious about what's going on in our bodies. We're just from here upwards. So ensure that you're just noticing what's going on in your body. Notice the feelings that you have. Notice how life is for you. Those are the exercises stop and the exercise rain that I talk about. They're really good ways just to connect in to yourself, connecting to what's going on for you and what's going on within you. Because once you start to fully appreciate how you're feeling, that's when you can actually do something about it. So if you start to notice that you're feeling stressed, or you notice maybe you're feeling lonely or feeling overwhelmed, once you get to understand that's how you're feeling, it means that you're able to do something about it. So whether that's speaking up to someone about it, or going through an exercise, or you can start working with it and taking steps to help yourself. And lastly, just knowing, taking one day at a time. There'll be days which is really great, the days where you feel really productive. There'll be days that you think, yeah, this is really the great thing. There'll be other days where you feel lethargic, lacking motivation, and just thinking, oh God, this is hard work. Just take one day at a time, and know that if it is difficult on that particular day, that will pass. But then also taking the time out to appreciate what is good about your situation, what is working, what are the benefits, from working from home, because there's never anything that's completely bad or completely fantastic. So it's about acknowledging to yourself the positives, as well as being able just to work through the more challenging times. But even in the more challenging times, just reminding yourself that this too will pass. Nothing's permanent. Everything is in a state of flux. And when we allow ourselves to acknowledge that to ourselves, it means that it gives us a greater understanding and awareness to be able to pass through those times. Anyway, I hope those few tips have been helpful, and let me know if you have any questions. Take care of yourself. Bye.